Welcome, bienvenidos. Let's talk about Hasan Piker and this whole thing with the e-collars, shall we? Now, let's do full disclosure. I'm going to be talking about several things here, not just Hasan Piker. There's other things at play here, but I want to start with the dog situation first before I move into the whole situation about. So, in order for me to make a good assessment, there are some things that I want to leave you with, and that is why I said full disclosure. Number one, I am a dog person. I had a dog until October of 2020. And it's been 5 years, and I still do not have the heart to get a dog. I had Black Eye from the time he was 3 weeks old until he passed away at 14 and a half years. I have never used any kind of shock collar or e-collar or anything like that on my dog. I just tried to train him the best that I could. Black Eye was not the type of dog that would bark for no reason, so if he started barking, we knew there was a problem. And as far as him being the center stage on my videos or my live streams, I had no problem with that. I loved, and if you were here on the channel before 2020, you know that he would jump on the bed and I would not care. I would just and I would even get out of the way so people could see the dog. I don't have a problem with my dog interfering. I don't have a dog now, but if I had a dog now, then yeah. Before Black Eye, however, I had 2 other dogs, and I want to bring this up because this is the first point I want to make. For what I understand, and keep in mind, I don't follow Hasan, and I'm going to explain why. That's part of the full disclosure. But I am very much aware that he had a dog before he had this one. And he adored that dog. And I am told that people, when it comes to dogs, are like they are with children. They love them differently. That doesn't mean they love one more than the other. It just means that they are very different between one kid and the other. I wouldn't know that because I only have one live kid. I do understand that some people, they love one dog more than the other one. I don't understand that logic either because I've had 3 dogs in my life. I am a dog person. I love dogs, and I would never, not even with Wally, who was the least well-behaved of the 3, I would have never put a shock collar on Wally. I also have to look at Hasan Piker himself. Hasan Piker, for those of you who don't know, is a streamer who became famous because he happens to be the nephew of Cenk, the guy from the Young Turks. And full disclosure again, I used to watch the Young Turks when it started. Then I found out that when they did the big expansion, the person that gave the majority funding for that project was a Republican. Now, I don't care who donates to what when it comes to normal things. But if you're calling yourself a progressive, but the bottom line is that that's how Hasan started showing up. He was part of the Young Turks, and then he got him to his own thing and blah, blah, blah. The story goes, for what I understand, and I've seen some of the videos, that the dog that he has now, she was acting up and people heard her yelp. And it looked like he reached out for something, and they were thinking that he had an e-collar on her. Now, this is where we go from full disclosure to what is happening. I have seen everything from child abuse, from animal abuse to accusations that the state of California is going to mess with him because the laws and blah, blah, blah. Let me start by explaining one thing. There is no law in the United States saying that you cannot have an e-collar, or better known as, in this case, shock collar on a dog. So in order for us to understand how this got started and what's going on, the first thing that I'm going to read you, and keep in mind that this is a pet company called Atlas. That's where I'm reading this from. And they say that an e-collar is short for electronic collar, looks like a standard strap collar, but with the addition of a small, give me a second because I can't see, with a small black transmitter box. A handheld remote is wired to send signals to the dog's neck from his owner's hand, anywhere from a few hundred meters to a mile apart, depending on the model. And then it sits on the neck. They have another type of collar that sits closer to the shoulder blades, and they say that it's comfortable and that doesn't hurt the dog, blah, blah, blah. Then it comes, and this is why I decided to use this particular company's website, the underserved bad rap, underserved in parentheses. Well, kind of. When e-collars first gained popularity with certain trainers several decades ago, they certainly had the potential to make a dog uncomfortable. The units had few settings, and sometimes even the lowest level was too strong. While the jury's out on whether these early e-collars could injure a dog, they certainly could make a pup uncomfortable and scared. Modern e-collars are a whole different story, though. These days, collars come with up to 100 settings, with most dogs being receptive to the very gentlest. Think levels 3 to 8 out of those 100. Higher settings are not encouraged for frequent use, and manufacturers suggest employing them only in emergency situations. But is it painful then? Definitely not, according to every expert we consulted. Now, keep in mind again that this is a company that is trying to sell you these shock collars, right? Now, I was doing the research. When I was doing the research for this, I found out and I'm posting the image on the screen of all the countries that have laws against these type of collars. The United States has never been the most receptive when it comes to protecting animals. They believe animals are property. Whether you agree with that or not is irrelevant. For the purposes of the for the purposes of the law, the dog is a property. And so animal abuse has been growing in popularity in terms of passing laws. And in fact, in the United States, and I am going to post the link here, the screenshot here, there are attempts, there have been introductions of laws to make these kinds of collars illegal. But as of right now, as of me researching all over the internet, even though I did see something about, oh no, he's breaking the law, blah, blah, blah. As of right this moment, e-collars, shock collars, whatever you want to call them, are not illegal. Are they hurting the dogs? Let me start by saying that as someone who's owned 3 dogs and has seen my dogs do all kinds of stupid things which hurt themselves with, I can tell you that Baby was this big. He could pretty much do anything and he wouldn't even yelp. He rarely got hurt. I mean, that dog went through pretty much everything and he didn't scream in pain once. Wally, on the other hand, Wally could tolerate most pain, but he would yelp. And then Black Eye, the poor thing, I mean, Black Eye ended up having epilepsy too, so that is another story for another day. But Black Eye had a little bit more of a low tolerance for pain, shall we say. So I'm laughing now, but I just thought it was funny back then too. He had a habit of getting scared of seeing himself on the mirror. So animals, much like humans, have different tolerances for pain. So just because a dog yelps doesn't mean that it's abusive or that it's horrible. What people are having an issue with is that he didn't even move to see if the dog was okay or whatnot. The man makes a living having 8-hour live streams. And the dog behaves or doesn't behave. I saw somebody saying, well, I was always wondering why the dog stays so quiet. I don't know if you've ever worked with your dog at home, but I can tell you from personal experience that when I worked, and I don't mean online, I mean online, but I mean not televised. My dog would sit on my feet and stay there for 3, 4, 5 hours, happy as a clam. Wouldn't even move. Maybe after hour 5, he would jump, go get some water, jump right back to over my feet and stay there for another 3 hours. So the fact that the dog stays in one place the whole time doesn't surprise me either. Having said that, I've never seen one of these live streams, so I don't know if the dog actually stays there for the 8 hours or not. All I can tell you is that especially after, like, for example, if you are a jogger and you have a dog and every morning you go jogging and you take your dog with you, I can guarantee you that dog's going to sleep most of the day. It is what it is. If you have a dog, you know. So I don't know, and of course there's a lot of like different breeds that act differently, but I've had 3 different dogs. 2 of them were mutts, 1 of them was a breed dog. Not only that, but I was raised with, my brother had a chow as a dog, and I can tell you Sparky slept all the time. Also, he would just find his little spot on the balcony and he would lay there all day. So there is something to be said for the types of animals, and if you see me looking up, it's because there's a little Diego running around and he's making me very nervous because I don't want him to fall off. That's not defending Hasan and his action, by the way. I would not use a shock collar on my dog. But do I think that some animals are trained that way and that some people don't find that abusive? Absolutely. Here is where I get upset. What I find interesting is that this man has done a lot of other things that are really not cool. And by the way, every screenshot that you're going to see right now talks about a specific situation. And I have seen it in more than one place. And I have heard sound bites and I've seen comments that he's said and whatnot. So I'm fairly certain that these are true. But because, you know, law is that way, these are the allegations that are made up against Hasan. Personally, I've seen some interactions that he's had on social media and whatnot. I find him to be annoying, among other things. I think he doesn't have a lot of respect for women. It cracks me up because people assume that progressives are very much good to women and good to other races and whatnot. I don't see that. That's not my experience with progressives. Progressives are just as bad as conservatives, I think it is, in certain areas. If you have a man that doesn't like women, that thinks that he's above women, you can have a conservative man like that and a liberal man like that. If you have a man that doesn't like other races, he can be a conservative or he can be a progressive. That whole thing that if you're progressive, you're in favor of all this stuff, and no. The best proof that I can give you, there's a lot of transphobia in the progressive side, just like there's people that don't have a problem with trans people on the conservative side. Now, religiously, they will tell you, you know, God is going to judge you. But personally, they interact with them like nothing because they don't care. The hypocrisy is astounding to me, because the bottom line to me is, as much as I love dogs and as much as I would not use a shock collar on my dog, it just pains me to see that y'all are so quick and willing to cancel this man over what happened with the dog and the subsequent excuses and everything else. But you don't have a problem with everything else that he's done or said. Because the people that put him on that pedestal, that are now complaining, are very quick to put anybody on a platform and give them a platform, just so they can take them down whenever they feel like it. Meanwhile, there's tons of other content creators, both progressive and conservative, that have something to say, that have an actual point of view that is relevant to the conversation. And those people get ignored because we always enjoy giving a pedestal to all these problematic influencers. I cannot wait to see what you have to say about this. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.